What kind of mother could cradle her newborn child with one hand and take their life with the other? How could a parent, the very person meant to protect, become the silent destroyer of her own family? This is the haunting case of Marybeth Tinning, a woman from upstate New York who, over the course of 14 years, murdered 9 of her own children. And before we step into this chilling tale, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss more true crime stories that uncover the darkest truths hidden behind ordinary lives. Marybeth Rowe was born in 1942 in Duansburg, New York, into a family where affection and warmth were scarce. Her father worked long hours, her mother seemed distant, and by many accounts, Marybeth grew up craving attention she never received. She was described as shy, lonely, and somewhat troubled. Teachers noted she often felt invisible. From her earliest years, it seemed she longed for recognition, for someone to finally notice her existence. But what no one could have predicted was how this hunger for attention would later manifest in horrifying ways. As she grew older, Marybeth met and married a man named Joseph Tinning in 1965. On the surface, they were just another working-class couple living in Schenectady, New York. Joseph worked at General Electric, and Marybeth found odd jobs here and there. Soon after their marriage, Marybeth began having children, and this is where the story takes its dark turn. In 1972, Marybeth gave birth to her first child, a girl named Jennifer. But soon after her birth, Jennifer developed seizures and died at just 8 days old. The death was recorded as natural, a tragedy that could befall any young family. Friends and neighbors felt sympathy, surrounding Marybeth and Joseph with condolences. The grieving mother was suddenly at the center of attention, comforted, noticed. Not long after, another tragedy struck. In early 1972, just a few weeks after Jennifer's death, their second child, Joseph Jr., suddenly died as well. Doctors attributed it to sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS. Marybeth was seen crying, devastated, receiving waves of support from her community. But as the months and years went by, the pattern continued. By the mid-1970s, the Tinning household had become a place of repeated mourning. Marybeth's third child, Barbara, died suddenly in 1973, then her fourth, Timothy, died in 1973 as well, also from mysterious causes. The deaths kept piling up, one after another, each child succumbing to unexplained illnesses or what doctors labeled SIDS. Marybeth's fifth child, Nathan, died in 1975. Her sixth, Mary Frances, died in 1978. Her seventh, Jonathan, in 1979. Each time, the community gathered to console Marybeth, to bring flowers and casseroles, to express their sorrow at her misfortune. Each time she soaked in the attention. Each funeral was another opportunity to be the grieving mother, the center of sympathy. By now, doctors were whispering about the sheer improbability of so many tragedies in one family. But back then, child abuse through intentional suffocation or poisoning was not as widely understood or suspected as it is today. Medical professionals hesitated to accuse a mother, especially one who seemed so heartbroken, of harming her own children. In 1981, the Tinnings adopted a baby boy named Michael. It seemed like a chance at a fresh start, a way to heal the wounds of years of loss. But tragedy followed even this child. Only a few months after arriving in the household, Michael died mysteriously in his crib. Not even adoption could shield children from the curse of living under Marybeth's roof. The final blow came in 1985, when Marybeth's ninth child, a 4-month-old girl named Tommy Lynn, was found unresponsive. Once again, the grieving mother told the same story, that the baby had suddenly stopped breathing. But this time, authorities were no longer willing to accept her words at face value. By now, suspicions had grown far too loud to ignore. 9 children, all dead within the same family over just 14 years. It defied belief that nature or coincidence could be responsible. Doctors, social workers, and investigators began piecing together the pattern. Forensic tests on Tommy Lynn revealed signs consistent with smothering, not SIDS. Finally, the truth began to emerge. When investigators confronted Marybeth, her calm facade began to crack. In a shocking confession, she admitted to smothering several of her children with pillows or blankets. She explained that sometimes she killed them because they annoyed her, sometimes because she felt overwhelmed, and other times simply because she wanted attention after their deaths. To hear a mother speak such words was chilling beyond measure, but perhaps the most disturbing detail was how she described her actions with cold detachment. There was no deep remorse in her confession, only explanations. It seemed that for Marybeth, motherhood was not about love or sacrifice, but about feeding her own emotional void, even if it meant destroying the lives of those she brought into the world. In 1987, Marybeth Tinning was tried for the murder of her 9th child, Tommy Lynn. The prosecution presented her confession and the suspicious pattern of deaths, arguing that no one could believe 9 children from the same family would all die of natural causes. The defense tried to argue mental illness, suggesting she had suffered from Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a psychological disorder where a caregiver causes harm to others in order to gain sympathy. But the jury was not swayed. Marybeth was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 20 years to life in prison. Her case shocked not only her community, but the entire nation. How could so many warning signs have been ignored? How could doctors, neighbors, and even her husband fail to stop her after the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th suspicious death? Some pointed to the era at the time. Society resisted believing that a mother could harm her children. Others suggested that Joseph Tinning, though never proven to be complicit, chose to turn a blind eye, unwilling to confront the horrifying truth about his wife. While behind bars, Marybeth rarely expressed guilt. In interviews, she sometimes claimed she was innocent, despite her earlier confession. Other times, she admitted responsibility, but framed her actions as mistakes rather than deliberate crimes. For many, this only deepened the horror. A mother who robbed 9 lives and still could not fully acknowledge her monstrosity. Marybeth remained in prison for more than 3 decades. In 2018, after serving over 30 years, she was released on parole at the age of 75. The news of her release reignited outrage among those who remembered the tragedy. Many believed she should never have been freed, given the scale of her crimes. But parole officials argued that at her age, she no longer posed a threat to society. Even today, Marybeth Tinning's case remains one of the most disturbing in American true crime history. She was not a stranger lurking in the dark, not a nurse or a caretaker harming others for profit. She was a mother, a role society places at the heart of compassion, trust, and protection. And yet, she used that role as cover for unimaginable cruelty. Her story forces us to confront difficult questions. What drives a mother to destroy the very children she carried and raised? How many lives might have been saved if someone had acted sooner? And perhaps most disturbingly, how many other cases like hers may still be hidden, disguised by the excuses of coincidence or unexplained illness? 9 children died at the hands of Marybeth Tinning, each of them silenced before they had the chance to grow. They are the true victims in this story, remembered only because their deaths finally exposed the darkness their mother carried. So, the next time you hear about tragedies explained away as coincidences, remember this story. Remember how, for 14 years, Marybeth hid behind the mask of grief while burying one child after another. And remember that sometimes, evil does not come from outside the home, it comes from within. If this story unsettled you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We bring you more chilling true crime stories, dark histories, and haunting cases you won't want to miss. Because the past has shadows, And it's in those shadows where the most disturbing truths lie.